So variations can be categorized into two main types. We have continuous variations and discontinuous variations. Okay? Continuous and discontinuous. And we are going to see what are continuous variations and what are discontinuous variations, and we give some examples. If you can understand that, then you'll be good students. So let's have a look at continuous variations. And I'll start by saying, if you're in class and I say, I want you guys, I draw a line and I say, I want short people this side, okay? And I want tall people this side, okay? Yes, most people will run towards this side and some will run towards this side. But there will be those who will be confused. Or if I say running will be kind of lenient. Oh, let me just say, I choose somebody, maybe Pony or Pony or anyone, and I say, please, I want you to organize these people according to their heights. Whereby I want tall people this side and short people the other side. Someone is asking, is it evolution or variation? It is variation, not evolution. We haven't talked about evolution. Not so katende. Yes. So you will organize your people. Yes, you start, the work will be easy. Okay. The work will be easy, whereby you start with the tallest people, the tallest ones, you put them the shortest, you keep doing, but you reach a certain group of people that you'll be confused where to put them. Should I put them among the short people or among the tall people? That if you finally choose that, let me put them this side and you put others this side, you might reach a level where some tall people this side might even be shorter than some short people this side. And the people that you believe to be short this side are kinda taller than. Okay? You keep that aside. But if I say, I want you to organize these people into boys this side and girls this side. Really, is that a big work? Is that a big task? No, it's not that big deal. Here, you can even do it yourself. I'll just say, boys this side, girls this side. Will you find anyone confused, trying to find where to go? That should I go among boys or among girls? Obviously, no. Okay? And so, basing on these two examples I've just given, they define our two types of variations. And with continuous variations, these are variations that show no clear-cut difference among different organisms of the same species. These are variations that show gradual change in individuals without clear-cut differences between the two extremes. What does it mean? If we consider height, for example, it's what we are used with. If we consider height, for example, in every class, in every group, there will always be that tallest guy. there will always be that shortest guy. Okay. Now the short and the tall, the tallest and the shortest, these are our extremities. These are our extreme ends, not so? The shortest, imagine the shortest, and the tallest, these are our extreme ends. But from the shortest person up to the tallest person, there will be some small change among these people, whereby you can get, if the shortest maybe is 100, just 100 meters, and the tallest maybe is 160, centimeters, not meters, 160 centimeters, for instance. You find a person, maybe the second shortest will be 100.01, maybe followed by 100.02, and at each level, you can find somebody. There is that gradual change, that small change among individuals. And the two extreme ends do not show that clear division. But in other variations, such as this for instance, say 6, okay? We have males as one extreme end, and we have females as the other extreme end. So if you have 1,000 people, if 500 are males, then obviously 500 must be females. You cannot have people who are both males and females. You cannot have people who are both males and females. But if you have 1,000 people, okay, you may find those who are just 100 centimeters, they are like 2 or 3, and those who are 170 centimeters, they are also like 5. But the rest will be distributed within this. And should I say fun enough? Or should I say, this is quite obvious, the majority of the people, they will be within the middle, around here. Many of them are around here. Not short, not tall, but in the middle. Here's another example. If I give a paper, if I give an exam, for instance, in lab, if I give an exam and it's a biology paper and the paper is out of 100, think of this. How many people get 90%? How many people get 80%? How many people manage to get 70%? Then how many people manage to get around 60? Then how many manage to get around 50? How many? 40, around 40%, around 30%, around 20%. Think of these numbers. Think of those figures. Okay, around 10, from 10 to 20. Then how many get from 0 to 10? Think of a subject like history, CRE. Which one? What is the easiest subject you feel? Few people will have 90. Few, either one person or 2, just 2. Then around 4 people have 80. Around 5 or to 10, they'll be in 70s. But majority will be here. If the class has 100 people, around 70 people will be around 50, 40s there. And this is okay. Some should be around 30s, 20s, but very few people, maybe 5, will be around 0 to 10. Very few people. And that one is okay. That's actually how it is supposed to be. Okay? But at each 90, 89, 7, you have people there. And if you plot a curve, by the way, if we plot a curve of continuous data, this is what you find: very few people with zeros. Okay? But very many people are between 40, okay, and 50. Not so? And very few people will be having 90. Very few people will be having 5%. So if maybe this is number of people with a given mark, and this is mark or marks. So you find few people have 5%, then very many are between 50 and 40, and very few are within they have 90 and 100. So when you plot, you get such a curve. But if it is sex, for instance, you are plotting a graph of males, okay, stroke females, okay, males stroke females, and you have your 100 people. Really, can you get such a curve? Can you get such a curve? You would have, this is it, you have males and females, okay? And then you have a number of people here. How many people out of 100 are males? And you may find males are 40, and that's the 40 probably. And females are 60. So can you have such a curve? Then you have just a bar graph, okay? So you cannot have this curve when you are plotting such a data, male, female. So for a variable that gives that continuous data, this is what we call a continuous data, then it's a continuous variation. So let's think about some few continuous variations. Let's think about some few. Number one, can you tell the difference between the marks between those who are intelligent and those who are not intelligent? I want to use those who are not intelligent. Can you really separate them? No, you cannot separate them. So intelligence, therefore, becomes a continuous variation. Okay? Think of some other thing. Skin color. There are people who are too dark. Is it dark? Okay, dark skin. Too dark skinned. There are people who are too light skinned. Not albinos, but naturally they are light skinned. But from light skinned people up to the most dark skinned people, you have their people. And many of them, by the way, they will be around chocolate. The us, they are chocolate. Majority are chocolate. Very few who are too dark skinned and very few who are too light skinned. Many of us are around the intermediate color. Okay? So then that's what we call a continuous variation. Think of height. We have people who are tall, too tall, and people who are too short. But find somebody who is too tall, it is rare. And find somebody who is too short, it is also rare. Majority of us are around the intermediate. Not so, guys. So those are the variations that are referred to as continuous variations. So they show clear-cut difference. And it results into formation of intermediates, such variations include height, intelligence, skin color, yield in plants, etc. And we have already talked about almost each. And in such variations, organisms are usually very many around the average, the in between. Okay, that's why I usually have very many. So can I receive some questions, guys? Any queries? So if it's a continuous data, or if it is a continuous variable, then we shall get such a continuous curve. If you try to plot maybe a given factor such as height, and you count how many people are too short, as in short, you get very few. And if you count how many people are too tall, you still get very few people. But when you count those who are not tall, not short, just there, oh my God, you get very many people. Okay? And that's what, if you plot a number of organisms out of a given height or a given parameter, then you get such a curve. And the same applies to other factors such as intelligence. If I'm to plot your marks, I'll get such a curve where I'll get very few people with 0%, okay, or 0.5% and stuff like that. And I'll get very few people with 80%, 90%. But majority of you will be around 40, 50, and 60. And it is okay. It is okay. It is okay. Otherwise, you cannot have a class and all students are getting 80s, 90s. Then you know you are not teaching. This one is not possible. Either they cheated or you cheated. You cannot have a class and all students are getting below 10, below 20. Either the students are not serious, or you, the teacher, you are not serious, or the subject itself is not serious. All students are getting below 20. No, this one is not possible. Okay? In any environment, intelligence is a continuous variation. So it should follow that continuous curve. Even if the class is like how, okay, you should have some people getting at least 40, 50 there, like one person getting a 50, okay, and then very few people getting 0%, and the majority will be around there. That's what we call a continuous data for a continuous variation. Somebody has a question? Sorry for this. But I'm asking whether in continuous variation, different alleles have small effect on the phenotype. Okay, that's good. That's a good question. Now, with continuous variations, they are determined by very many alleles, very many genes. In fact, you can call it polygenic. Okay? You can call it polygenic to mean many genes or determined by many genes. And so because of this, each gene contributes its effect, like what you said, small effect. Each gene contributes its small effect to bring about the overall variation among organisms. But now with these other variations, the discontinuous variations, For them, they are determined by very few genes. For example, sex, okay, determined by the XY. The genes carried by Y and the genes carried by X chromosome, but mostly Y. If Y is present, then you are a man, period. If Y is absent, then you are a female, period. But you cannot be both. Okay? Yes. Somebody has a question? Florence?
No.
No question?
Yes.
It's okay. Feel free, guys, to ask any question, ask anything that you feel bothering you, that you feel it is disturbing you. I'll be happy to answer. Then with discontinuous variations, these ones, they show clear-cut difference between organisms in the extreme ends with no intermediates. No intermediate. Here you cannot be both. And there is no confusion at all. For example, you cannot be both a male and a female. You cannot. You cannot be both a male and a female. I'm seeing somebody is dropping something in the chat box. I know someone wants to ask about hermaphrodites. Now, you Gibson, I'm going to beat you up. You are making noise in the chat box. So you cannot be both. You are either a male or a female, but not both. Okay? So these ones, they show a clear-cut difference among the two extreme ends with no intermediates. And examples, we have very many. Okay? Number one, we have blood groups. And we studied blood groups. We saw there are four types of blood groups. We have blood group A, we have blood group B, we have blood group AB, and blood group O. So you can't be both A and B. You can't be both B and AB. Okay? There is no an intermediate between. You can't be both O and AB. No. If I'm to gather data in your class of blood groups, and I brought that data, people of blood group A, people of blood group B, people of blood group AB, and people of blood group O, I cannot have such a continuous curve. If there are 10 of A, it will be 10. If there are 5 of B, same. If there are 20, it's 20. If 10 people have blood group O, then it's 10. So we cannot have, now if it will be madness when you come and join these points. That's madness. Because there is no connection between A and B. No connection between B and AB. No connection between AB and AB. So when you are to plot, then you have such, oh my God, you have such a bar graph. And that's what we call a discontinuous data. In the chat box, somebody is saying, teacher, A plus B, it's AB. Not so? Yes, it is AB. But I mean, you cannot find a person. This is a blood group on its own. This is a blood group on its own, and this is a blood group on its own. You cannot find a person who is between blood group AB and blood group A. You cannot find a person who is between blood group O and blood group A. Okay? These are totally 4 different blood groups. Let's talk about sex, males and females. If you have 1 million people, you can isolate males alone and females alone, and with no confusion. You won't have people be like, now where should I go? Am I a man? Am I a female? Where should I? No, you cannot have. You totally isolate these people. Okay? You totally isolate these people. So that when you are plotting, you cannot have such a continuous, such a line graph, but you rather have a bar graph. Even tongue rolling, you can either roll or you cannot roll. Now rolling, now wish I was there to show you what tongue rolling is, but I can describe. And very few people here can roll your tongue. Now, if you try this, get your tongue and you try to coil it longitudinally within your mouth. So this is, I've used some big tongue. So if this is your tongue, okay, this is a longitudinal axis, this is longitudinal, and this is cross-section or transverse. Now I want you to coil it longitudinally, like you do this, you coil it like this within your mouth. Okay? Yes. Try to do it. Those people who can do it, they will understand. But those people who want to do it, they might fail to understand what I'm trying to talk about. So try to roll it longitudinally. Okay? Longitudinally. Now, this is what we call tongue rolling. We all do it at school. Okay, I think, yeah, we shall do it. Teacher, your video for more understand. You want me to record myself? Tongue rolling. Maximilian can do it. Yes. But unfortunately here, you can do or you cannot do. Now, those people who will do, they will clearly understand what I'm talking about. Tongue rolling, you coil longitudinally and form something. I don't even know how, but that's tongue rolling. Now you can either roll or you cannot roll. Period. When we go back to school, I'll try to illustrate that. I'm trying to show you tongue rolling. Okay? Yes, and appreciate. You find that very few people in class can actually do tongue rolling, can actually roll. So it is going to end and we start afresh. So have no worries, okay? Yes.